Good morning, YouTube, and a happy Friday. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Mike Bradshaw and I run Mike Bradshaw Photography. For my first vlog on my personal channel, I really wanted to come up with an idea for a video that wasn't overdone, overused, but still incorporated video as well as my other passion, which is the automotive industry. And I think I came up with a good idea. And that is 5 ways to make a better vehicle video. So to show you these 5 tips and tricks, I thought what better way to do it than to also reveal my new build, new ride, and so let's just get right on into it. Here she is, my 1981 Volvo 240. She is not the prettiest, and she's kind of old, but my thought was I needed a daily driver, and this thing was cheap, and Volvos run for freaking ever, and parts are cheap on it, easy to fix up. So my idea was, let's fix this thing up, make it nice, make it a nice commuter. Doesn't have to be new, doesn't have to be fancy, just like computer gear, just like video gear. Doesn't need all the little bells and whistles, but here she is, and I'm super proud to call her mine. So my first tip is you want to use different motions. And what I mean by that is you don't always want to have an up and down motion in every single shot. You don't want to have a pan in every single shot, and you definitely don't want like a roll in every single shot. You know, you don't want everything to be just sideways, or oh, I'm gonna lead into it, or you know, oh, I'm gonna roll every single shot. You want to have some variety in your shots to keep the viewer entertained. So tip number 2 I have for you guys is to add some scenery into your mix. So obviously we are shooting outdoors with my car, and we've got some great location here for you guys. As you can see, we've got this nice little bridge and a little creek, some gigantic trees, and the car. And what I like to do is just add just a little bit of the surrounding area to kind of give the viewer a feel like they were there in the video with you, kind of understand, give it a vibe. So while we're adding in some scenery, this brings me to my next tip, which is you want to add some audio. Nothing's more boring than a video that only has the music that you put in there. You got to spice that thing up here. So as you can see, we're down here by the creek, and we're gonna go ahead and use the audio from my Rode mic and just get a little bit of the audio from the creek here, and then we'll go back up here when we're done and get a little bit of audio from the car. So like I said earlier, we just got some audio down there by the creek to help fill in some of those clips, and now we're gonna get some audio from the exhaust on the car. And since I don't have a tripod with me, it's back at the house, I'm just gonna set my gimbal on the stand here, and I'm gonna have it recording, and the shotgun mic aimed toward the exhaust will get maybe 1 or 2 sound clips of it revving, and that should be good enough for this short clip. So tip number 3 is when you're shooting your vehicle, you're gonna wanna use different focal lengths. And what I mean by that is you don't want every single shot to be a 50 millimeter. You don't want every single shot to be at, you know, 18 millimeter. Now, if you don't have a whole bunch of lenses or like a zoom lens, then that's okay. Do your best. You know, if you're using your iPhone, that's totally cool. But if you do have access to multiple lenses with multiple different focal lengths, you want to be sure to kind of switch things up a little bit, because it just gets stagnant. And I think that's the whole point of the rest of this video, is you don't want things to go stagnant. Now let me give you an example of what not changing your focal length might look like. While something like that is totally doable, that's acceptable in a lot of circumstances, if you have the ability to do other things and switch it up a little bit, you definitely should. So we just got done doing audio, and the last tip I have for you guys today applies more for the camera users, a little bit less for the iPhone, but if you have an iPhone, a newer one, you'll understand what I'm talking about. And that is, you want to try to have as shallow of a depth of field as possible when you're doing videos. And the reason I say that is because you want to separate your subject from its background and keep your viewer focused on what you want them to see. So now obviously when I'm going to shoot this car, yeah, I might want them to see a little bit of the backdrop. So you don't want too shallow, but on certain shots of, you'll see the shot I did of the Volvo emblem, and you'll see one of the Rupa's keychain that I did, and they have a really shallow depth of field, and that's because I really want the focus not to be on some bug in the windshield or, you know, a dent in the side of the car, but rather the emblem or the little piece, the little details, and that's going to make that pop just that much more. Now, if you're wondering if you've got a camera, the easiest way to get a shallow depth of field obviously is to have a lens that has a very large aperture, which means, you know, it's going to be your 1.4 aperture, your 1.8, and that's going to get you a really shallow depth of field. Me personally, I'm using a Sony Alpha A6500 paired with an adapter and a Sigma 18-35 1.8 lens. For me, this does an excellent job of not only letting a lot of light in low light situations, but also getting that shallow depth of field even when you're in the wide angle shots, but it'll also zoom into 35 millimeter, which is just excellent. So there you have it, guys. There's the reveal of my new car, the Volvo 240 or 244 because of the 4 doors. And there are 5 tips and tricks for you to make better automotive videos. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please put a like down there, subscribe to the channel. If you guys like this, comment and let me know, and we'll try to do more of these kind of behind the scenes tutorials for you. Thank you guys so much.